Competition is healthy because it brings the best out of people and business. True, isn't it? False. Competition and the fierce disregard for anyone or anything are what will get you to the top and secure you that position of power you have always longed for. True, isn't it? False. Business academics and economists have carried out more than 400 independent studies to find out what degree of competition is the best or the healthiest. They found that the best percentage of competition is 0. Competition should never be confounded with ambition and with a desire of becoming the best professional or the best business in one sector or another. When we collaborate and do so genuinely with no hidden agendas, the impossible becomes possible. For many of us, myself included, the fact that in the 1960s the men landed on the moon, when there were no digital technologies, when the industrial development was just starting to pick up, when many of today's curable diseases were deadly, appears almost inconceivable. But we did. And we did so because everyone in President Kennedy's administration and NASA worked together and worked towards the same goal irrespective of their political flavor. The discovery of quantum technologies and computing, in particular the theory of entanglement, demonstrated that we are all connected, we are all influencing one another, and that, most importantly, one of Sir Isaac Newton's fundamental laws of physics is more poignant today than it has ever been. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. I specialize in public relations and communication and have done so for over 20 years. Few fields of practice are as cutthroat as PR and communication are, and in even fewer, sadly this is not the case of my industry, ethics is just a word that sounds good and staff and or client pinching are up for grabs. Until recently, there have been not many opportunities for my peers across the world to come together, to learn together, to collaborate and support one another just because they can and just because they want to. Of course, there are plenty of membership bodies out there, and even I used to be a member of one of them. But at the very top of such self-importance-laden organizations, and particularly in membership organizations where the sponsorship of this and that dictate how much influence one has, or how open these organizations are to new ideas and agile ways of working, free resources, free dialogue, free debates are not common. On the contrary. In 2014, Stephen Waddington became the president of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations, and I met him that year in Glasgow. I had some things that I wanted to bring to his attention, issues that I wasn't very happy with, and he told me something that pretty much spurred everything I have done for my global practice ever since. He said, and I quote, "If you want things to change, what are you going to do about it?" It hadn't crossed my mind before then that actually I can be the David of the very established, posh, very often naval-focused Goliath of my membership body and of the PR and comms practice in general. But I could, and still can. When I was elected to the council and then the board of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations, I had two main agenda items I wanted to push and set in stone forever. The first one was the strategic role and remit of public relations at the highest level in an organization, and the second one was changing the fellowship award criteria. For the purpose of full disclosure, everything I did and do for my practice and peers has been and is on a total voluntary basis, because I know that collaboration helps us all become better and more credible at what we do, as well as more knowledgeable in terms of what we need to learn to ensure that we are, indeed, strategic advisors to the businesses and organizations we work for or support. And this newly launched YouTube channel is further evidence of that. In 2018, I set up Power and Influence, the most attended PR and comms Twitter chat in the world, attended by colleagues across the globe. from Australia to the United States, from Africa to Asia, and from Europe to Latin America. For almost 4 years, I brought it to an end in 2021. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. GMT or BST, we would cover a very specific topic of our practice, a topic which was often led by a special guest and moderated by me. To put it into perspective, we covered more than 170 complex topics in more than 170 weeks. Many peers have benefited from these open chats, have learned from them and became better at what they do because of them. I am hoping that this channel will also achieve that and more. I considered that the most important aspects of what I wanted all my peers to know about came to an end, and last year I created a bespoke 8-week-long masterclass for my very senior peers on the business value of public relations. This masterclass will soon be available to download on Kajabi. 2 cohorts have graduated already, and in the case of several of them, what I shared with them during those 8 weeks changed the way they work forever. Some have had a career course correction, others have been promoted, and so on. I truly believe that if you are blessed with knowing something very well, you should make sure you share it with others. This is how we evolve, grow, and become better professionals, irrespective of our line of work. In 2022, I was asked to join Socially Mobile, a superb initiative for peers from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, as well as underrepresented and underserved groups, including ethnic minority practitioners, the LGBTQ+ community, women returners, and those with disabilities. As is chief examiner, and earlier this year, the impact report of this initiative on the graduates of the course was released. In addition, I have chosen to waive my fee as the chief examiner of Socially Mobile and, instead, use that fee to sponsor the chartership assessment of the best candidate in each of the cohorts. It became simply known as the Chief Examiner's Award. It simply shows what collaboration and volunteering what you know can do when there is a genuine desire to make a change. I never stopped helping anyone who needs my advice on an issue, and many I helped monetize that advice they received from me. And that is okay because I made a conscious choice to offer it to them, hoping that if I do so freely, one day they will pay it forward. It is through collaboration, again on a global scale, that when I served on the board of the Society of Petroleum Engineers International, the Aberdeen section, and was the chair of a fantastic challenger committee called Another Perspective, I was able to break all the records of dialogue and collaboration in the oil and gas industry worldwide. And I have to thank the then SPE chair, Anthony Onuku, for allowing me to throw out the "we cannot do this" rulebook and create the first oil and gas conference in the world solely dedicated to human risk and to how this risk encompasses our beliefs, values, background, religion, nationality, and much more. For membership organization where everything was about hard science and engineering, human risk was rather not our business topic. This conference was an exceptional example of cross-sectoral collaboration and of the power of social media because it all started with a discussion I had initiated in SPE's LinkedIn group. Even to this day, more than 10 years later, it remains the most commented post ever on SPE's LinkedIn page. My efforts were supported by many who contributed to that discussion, and their validation, including their actual interventions during the conference, made a dream become a very tangible reality. I shall always be grateful to Lillian Espinosa Gala, David Pritchard, Lauren Steffi, Andrew Ottaway, John Donaghy, Ian Phillips, Jem Thomas, Susan Mackenzie, Les Linklater, Tim Marsh, William Libby, and to 2 amazing journalists, Andrea Breimer and Energy Voices Jeremy Cresswell. And I was truly honored to have Lord Cullen, The judge who presided over the Piper Alpha disaster inquiry, who is also, among many illustrious achievements, the former Lord Justice General and Lord President of the Court of Session of the Scottish Judiciary. I vividly remember the day I called his secretary and asked if his lordship would be willing to give the keynote address to an international conference, the first one of its kind in the world, looking at human risk in the oil and gas industry. She said she would ask him, and several hours later, Lord Cullen himself called me directly. I am not an engineer. I am a communicator, and another perspective on risk, the next tipping point, was a perfect example of what a communicator can do if they know how to do it and why it matters. The conference itself made history and headlines across the globe. It brought a significant amount of changes with regard to operational safety and risk in the oil and gas industry on both sides of the Atlantic. It led to journal papers being published and to much, much more. I am, modesty aside, very good at what I do. This is why I have been able to do so much, help so many, and create such a legacy to last me a lifetime and beyond. However, if I had attempted any of these initiatives I touched upon here, and there are many others that I have not mentioned, with a personal or professional gain agenda in mind, I would have achieved none. It is my firm belief and experience that when we want to do good, we can really make it happen, irrespective of what's in it for me and why should I do it. I also believe that imparting knowledge with those you can helps us all. If we, as individuals and a species, are really committed to working together and making a change in our respective professions, workplaces, communities, and more, we can certainly do it. Nothing is impossible. And before I conclude this video, I would like to pay my personal tribute to a giant of my practice, Francis Ingham, the former Director General of PRCA, who sadly and shockingly for many, myself included, passed away earlier this year. Francis was a special guest of my Power and Influence Twitter chat several times, was a passionate supporter of our practice and of the membership body he led with so much dedication and pride, and he was also the one who asked me to join the PR Guild, now the Company of Public Relations Practitioners, and invested me as one of its freemen, the one who asked me to become one of the Commonwealth Communicators Organization's founding fellows, and he was also one of the reviewers of my research book on public relations versus diplomacy and the former's likely success to thwart extremism. Irrespective of who you are and what you do for a living, alone you can achieve only this much. When you bring others with you and make them believe in your dream, the impossible becomes possible. Never doubt that. My name is Alaminti, and I would like to thank you for being here today. Power and Influence is a journey, and I would love to have you with me on it. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to this channel. Also, please do leave your thoughts, views and comments below. I would love to read them. Thank you.